Hello and welcome to a journey of clarity, a personal exploration of getting in tune with yourself and in tune with others with your host, Dr. Natanael Costea. This is a journey of emotional and spiritual awareness, of discovery what life truly means, and a clear shift from an ego-driven world to a meaning-driven world. I believe we can become more in tune with our thoughts, our emotions, and our spirituality. And as we do that, we will make better decisions, have deeper connections, more fulfillment, and even more joy. This is a bit of clarity. Hi everyone, Natanael here with episode 28. Today we're talking about perception. How do we perceive people out there? How do we perceive the world? How socially interactive are we with other people? Because perception is very important. Download your show notes because we are going to go straight into the show today, and in there you will see the notes of what I'm about to explain to you, and also your application guide down the bottom, how you can apply some of the concepts we're going to talk about today. So we are talking about social awareness in this part of the show, in these 13 chapters or 13 shows that we have now in 2021. And perception is very important, how we perceive things, how we make sense of things. So today we're going to develop an understanding of perception. Social perception deals with how people think about and make some sense of other people, how they form impressions, draw conclusions, and try to explain other people's behavior. How we look at other people, how accurate are we in the way we judge? Well, we shouldn't judge, but in the way we see other people, in the way we draw conclusions about other people, in the way we share information about other people, in the way we explain how other people behave, how other people are, in the way we see things and the way we see other people. Sometimes it is called social cognition. Person perception, or the study of naive psychology. Naive psychology because we don't think about the perception we have, we just have it. It's almost like a biases. Social perception focuses on factors that influence the way in which people understand other people and how people process, organize, and recall information about others. So this is all about awareness, social awareness. How do you understand other people? How do you categorize them? How do you organize the information that you receive about other people in your brain, in your mind, in your thinking? And how do you recall information about other people? So when you refer to me, for example, what do you say? You say, oh, that tall, bald guy from Australia who sometimes grows a beard. Or what do you say? Oh, he's got this show called A Bit of Clarity, and he talks about positive psychology and emotional intelligence. And what I like about him is that he brings new content every week. What I'm yet to get across to me is, something, I don't know, negative about me, but I don't want to say it anyway. But that's probably your biases towards me, which is fine. Look, you probably say, well, I wish he would just tell me the heart of the matter in 5 minutes, not in 20 minutes, and just get it over and done with. Sometimes he just goes on for too long. That could be a reality. But what I'm talking about is how you perceive, how do you see me, or how do you see other people around you. So making sense of our environment is a major task for the mind, which we learn and improve upon as we grow. We interpret the world around us by forming categories and using cause-effect linkages. So we create unconsciously categories in our mind. Male, female, tall, short, blonde, brown hair. So these are some of the things. But then we have categories. He's sporty in the sense he talks about sport. Let's say we can have interest categories. We can have job categories. We say, oh, that person is a doctor or she's a receptionist. And then based on those categories, we
put people, or based on the information received, we put people in various categories in our lives, in our mind, in fact. This process may not always be rational or logical, as reading the available information is a subjective task. So the way I see a person is different than the way you see that person. The categories I have in my head are different than the categories you have in your head. So when you receive the same information, you can perceive it differently than I perceive it. So that is what perception is about. So when you see somebody or you meet somebody and you hear them talk or you see them interact with other people, or you will have different way of seeing that person than I do, because your categories are different than mine, your cues are different than mine, what you see is different than what I see. So we make our own impression about that person or that social interaction. We process new information in any form we receive based on the information already present in our environment. So we always link it to something that we already know or something that we have experienced in the past. Our previous beliefs, our attitude towards a particular event or group, and our current mood all together work together to shape our perception of our surroundings. Certain preconceived notions exist as part of our personality, our social life, our upbringing, and any other source of social identity. So we perceive things differently based on the way we were brought up, based on the social interactions we have had as children, then as we grew up. So we have biases towards our understanding of life. So when we meet other people, we usually look at them through those lenses that we see our own life, that what we've experienced, what attitudes we've had, and those people that we've had interactions with in our lives. So these all come together to form our perception on the people that we meet. So these biases can be good, and a lot of the times can be really bad, in a sense they're very negative. For example, let's say driving, right? You will have the tendency to say maybe that women are worse drivers than men. And, then you have Volvo drivers who seem that they own the road because they've got such a safe car that, they can just drive anywhere. So we have those preconceived ideas. Or, let's say in Australia, a lot of people say, Asian drivers, because they tend to look forward and they don't look sideways. And they drive well on the straight path, but they don't have a sense of awareness of the surrounds around them. And we label these people, and a lot of the times we're wrong about that, because we can't categorize people, but because that notion has been imposed to us, or has become like a way of life, we now have formed those categories in our heads, and even though they're not real, it's a perception that we have. So what I want to do today is to make you aware that you have certain perceptions and certain categories about people that you've formed in your mind, and you should be aware of those and see how accurate these are, whether they're good or whether they're not, whether they are helping you or not helping you. And look, not everything is good or not everything is bad. All I'm saying is have the awareness, have the understanding that how you see matters in life are generally your perceptions that have been shaped and formed by your past, by the experiences you have, or by the environment that you lived in. Perception through non-verbal cues. So today what I'm trying to help you is to get to understand your perception, but also the perceptions of the people around you. So I want you to become a better reader of what is going on around you. So there are many non-verbal cues that will help you change your perspective and have a healthier perception of the people that you interact with. Number one is facial expression. Facial expression. The face is the image of the soul. There's a saying that says that. Human feelings and emotions are often reflected in the face and can be read in specific expressions. Well, a lot of the communication that we have with people is non-verbal. In fact, they say that 87% of the conversation or the communication that we have is non-verbal. So facial expressions play a massive, massive role in the way we communicate with other people, in the way that we perceive the information that they are trying to transmit to us. There are 6 different basic emotions on the human face: anger, fear, happiness, sadness, surprise, and disgust. You know, they've done studies throughout the world and they realized that these 6 basic different emotions on the human face are the same facial expressions worldwide. Which means in every culture, in every nation, most people will have the same facial expressions towards these 6 basic emotions. Doesn't really matter where they are in the world. So if you can read your own cues and read the cues in other people, these nonverbal cues, you are able to be most socially aware of what's going on with them, and your perception is more accurate of what is going on in their lives. So learn these facial expressions that you see in the faces of the people. So they are again anger, fear, happiness, sadness, surprise, and number 6, disgust. So look at the facial expressions. Number 2, eye contact. Eye contact. The eyes are the window of the soul. Feelings are best seen in the eyes. Now let me ask you this. Can you look people in the eyes? Do you look people in the eyes? When you communicate with people, do you look them in the eyes? Do you try and read what's going on in their lives? Is your perception accurate? Can you see it in their eyes? You know, if somebody looks you in the eyes, then, you know, most of the time that means they like them, or they're listening to you, or they want to go deeper in that interaction with you. You know, when you met your wife or when you met your girlfriend, the first connection was an eye connection. You know, there was a long gazing, an interaction where you accepted to look into her eyes and she accepted to look into your eyes. And a lot of the connection, a lot of the link that was made, that was welded, was with this eye connection, because the eyes are so powerful. Learn to understand a person by looking in their eyes and having your perception very accurate by reading their eyes. Number 3, body movements. Moods and emotions are often reflected in the position, posture, and movements of the body. How well are you in perceiving what's going on in somebody's life by the way that they move their body? Are they fidgety? Are they restless? Are they comfortable? Are they easygoing? Are they relaxed? Are they tense? Is the body embracing? Is the body, you know, boundary driven? Can you sense that? Can you read these cues? How well do you perceive their state of being in your social interaction with them by the body movement? Number 4, posture. Posture. The way a person carries himself affects his or her feelings. When somebody is sad, they tend to look down and frown. When anxious, they might tap their feet or shift their eyes, and when happy, they may smile. So look at their posture. Can you tell what a person is going through by looking at their posture? If their posture is, you know, is down, can you tell that they're going through a difficult period? If they're happy, if they're, you know, strong and full of life, full of vitality, can you tell that they're confident? Can you tell that they might have had a success, or they're just feeling good about themselves, and there's a sense of wellness and a sense of health and the sense of vitality in them? How well can you read the posture in somebody to get an understanding about themselves? And number 5, touching. Touching, this is the most intimate non-verbal cue. It can suggest affection, sexual interest, or even aggression. So how aware are you in the way that you touch other people, even simply shaking hands or tapping or hugging, or you know, how do you interact with other people? How do other people interact with you? And in a social setting, do you have the awareness of what touching does, and how you can read and how you can perceive what other people are going through by this non-verbal cue, which is touching. So these five areas help you to understand perception on a deeper level. So the way the facial expressions appear, the eye contact, body movements, number 4, posture, and number 5, touching. These can tell you so much about the other person in your social intelligence, in your social interaction with them. So it's very, very important for you to read these cues as you interact with other people, because this will make you more aware of the social interaction you have with them. So an application, something that you can take traction in your life. Think of a recent conversation and write down what you perceived through each of the non-verbal cues. So think of an interaction that you've had with somebody recently and look at these 5 non-verbal cues that are listed here: facial expression, eye contact, body movements, posture, and touching, and see what can you read about that person by going through these 5 portals. How much has your perception changed by having the awareness of these non-verbal cues? How much has this helped you? And I'm sure that it has helped you a lot, but don't take it lightly. Do go through this exercise and write everything down, because this will help you become more socially aware and more aware of the way you perceive things and the way you see things in other people. And the better you identify what people are going through, their emotions, their state of being, the more you can empathize with them, the more you can help them, the more your relationship is becoming stronger, and that way you become a more social, intelligent person, which is, I hope, what you want. Well, I really pray that this perception episode helps you to understand your own view of other people and how you perceive that information about other people, so you become most socially interactive with other people. Please do rate, subscribe, and share this content wherever you are consuming it. And this will matter immensely to us, especially if we get 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, because they rate it higher every time we get that. So I value all the feedback that we are receiving at the moment, and all those 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and the feedback that we get on Google Podcasts, on Spotify, on Amazon Music, and of course on YouTube. Thank you so much for interacting with us, and we will see you next week for a fresh episode.
I'm Dr. Natanael Costea, and I thank you so much for joining me on this journey of clarity through emotional and spiritual awareness. If you feel blessed by this presentation, please subscribe, rate, comment, and share it wherever you're enjoying it. And until next time, this was A Bit of Clarity.